Healthy relationships require individual space so we can develop and maintain personal integrity. Having a strong sense of integrity allows us to be honest with others as our actions align with our values and what we believe is morally right. Boundaries are any physical, verbal, or psychological and emotional limits that convey what we will or will not accept from others. Boundaries are put in place to take care of ourselves and ensure a sense of protection and safety, which varies from person to person. This is why it's important to be aware of what your boundaries are and how you communicate them. Some people have very clearly defined boundaries and a strong sense of self and what they're willing to accept. Others might have more loose boundaries that might indicate a lack of personal awareness or self-esteem. Sometimes this lack of identity can lead to becoming enmeshed with someone else, which can easily blur boundaries and create unhealthy relationship patterns. Let's talk about a few ways to create better boundaries. First is knowing your limits. You can't set a boundary if you aren't sure of what you're willing to take from others. Getting to know your values is key in this process, as it will give you a gauge as to what you consider most important. Second is taking personal responsibility. In order to enact your limits, you need to develop the ability to be actively involved in what should be done to set these boundaries. Some societal and cultural norms or expectations can make this challenging, but remember, you are the only one responsible for yourself and can't predict how others will react. Many times, respect is gained when others see that you're able to communicate clear boundaries. In the process of discovering limits and taking responsibility, most people develop greater self-esteem and self-respect. In the same token, you'll attract others to do the same. If you engage with people who don't treat you with respect, that's a warning sign. It's usually easy to detect, but if you find yourself feeling any kind of unease, it's best to trust your gut. Once you make your decisions on these limits, make sure you identify consequences you're actually willing to follow through with. Otherwise, what's the point of having boundaries? Also, what are you saying to yourself if you set and break your own rules? Some will try to fix others as a way to gain attention, love, or validation. If you find yourself spending time and energy on someone else that isn't serving mutual values, goals, or growth, you may want to rethink your choice to engage these behaviors. I know all of this can be extremely difficult, but taking responsibility also means that you get to be in charge of your decisions. You should never feel like you owe something to someone, and we all have the right to change our mind or direction anytime. At the end of the day, boundaries are at the root of our self-care practice and are absolutely necessary for our overall mental health and well-being. Next, I'd encourage you to think about your own personal boundaries and how you put them into action in your current relationships or where you might want to make some changes. Thanks for being here.